to talk about right now. Ryan, you've not seen it, but you are the best at describing plots, so
thank you.
Do it.
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, but you know.
Of the three of us, I think you hit all the important
Fair
points.
enough, right? So, Hardcore Henry, obviously, a lot's been made of this. Every single piece of the promotional material's been, you've never seen anything like this before. There's been something that you'll never see again, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And to be honest, the trailers have really sold to me. I had no idea how this was made, and I was really interested in finding out how it was made. And basically, it's shot entirely on a GoPro Hero 3 camera, using a specifically built rig worn like a mask. And if you've seen the pictures, they're incredible. It's really interesting to see, and it must have been a hell of a way to make. And I'm really interested to watch behind the scenes stuff of this. So basically, Hardcore Henry is a first-time direction by Ilya Naishuller, and basically it's, as I say, it's shot entirely from a first-person perspective, like a video game, through the protagonist's eyes. Basically, the character Henry wakes up in a sort of a laboratory, and he is basically
it's like an incubator, isn't it?
Yeah,
sort of thing, yeah.
And because a scientist called Estelle, played by Hayley Bennett, is replacing his missing limbs with cybernetic ones, and basically reminding them that he is his wife, who's just woke up to a car accident, but he can't remember anything because there's obviously the serious accident.
Yeah.
The laboratory gets broken down by the villainous telekinetic can, played by Danila Kozlovsky, and he arrives, and basically they have to escape and find out what Henry is, and basically keep him alive against these people who want to use his body for evil.
Yes.
Now, does it work? That's the crucial thing.
Well, Eddie's joined us today, because we were speaking about this in the media hub upstairs before, weren't we? Because you showed me the music video that the director made first.
Yeah, biting elbows.
Badass.
Bad, yeah. Let's go with that one. It's a much more polite way of saying it.
See, I hadn't seen the video till you showed me that, and that got me really excited. Because I kind of think, having now seen the film, the music video works really, really well. Because it's contained, it's 5 minutes, it's much punchier. It's a lot of different scenes, but cut very fast to kind of fit a lot in. Whereas this kind of feels like it's been extended out like that. They've kind of had to put a story in there to make more of it, and it just feels like a 90-minute compilation sort of thing.
I know where you're coming from with that. My personal view on it was, it didn't feel like too long a film, which is when I'm watching a film, that's one of the big things.
It is. It's 90 minutes, isn't it? So it's
I remember
short.
It was I think it was 9 minutes. It's 1 hour 50 minutes. I know that for a fact. I can't convert that into proper.
I think it was pretty much an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I remember looking at my watch, which I do.
I personally, it works really well, and it set out to, for its goal, it set out to basically create the first done first-person shooter movie, and I think they hit nail. If we look at it objectively just from that goal, it was spot on. And as I said, from the length of time, it was the right amount of time. I didn't walk out the going, "Geez, I wish it was over already," or "Oof." And when it got to the end, it felt like you were at the end.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as much as I want to praise it to high heaven,
it's not flawless.
There's a lot of flaws. From what I've seen before, because I've seen the director's, I can't pronounce his name, I'm going to apologise now.
It's his first name is Ilya.
We'll
call him Ilya.
He looks like he's nailed, slowly said, because he's done this kind of work before, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
He's nailed the transitions between shots and how to get a cohesive narrative out of a longer piece, but at the same time, I found, as someone who was a fan of his work before it went to full motion picture, I found, when I knew already how he cuts his shots, how he transitions between shots and scene, it became a lot harder to follow the action. You could see where something had been completely cut out and done.
Yeah.
And am I allowed to already start critiquing its little use of CGI?
You can, yeah.
I don't want to jump in too early and be like, rah, rebel. There was one scene in particular that really stuck out to me. It was, in a sense, the kind of Michael Bay money shots scene they were after.
Yeah.
When Henry comes in, he's got his riot shield, and loads of baddies come out, and he just shoots them all with a grenade launcher. I was really involved with the film to that point, but it was at that point I saw the CGI, and it looked far too much like a YouTube poop had been used. That kind of style, like a picture of a grenade launcher been put up, it was in 3 positions, and explosions happened.
Yeah.
And it really irked me to have done so much great work, because everything else, I couldn't tell if they were CGI. It looked like a couple of stuntmen had been given GoPros, told go mad and film or something. And for that, it worked. It was just when you could see the CGI, it really bugged me and pulled me out immediately.
We've mentioned a lot about technical stuff.
Yeah.
The film does, believe it or not, have a story.
Amazingly.
I have read that in one major scene near the end of the film, they had to sort of slim down and do entirely CG because they didn't have the budget in the end. Maybe that what you're referring to?
Do you know what? That would sound
Like
about
the
right.
director says that's his one regret with the film. Because they
would
ran
make
out of money, they basically had to do it shoddily and CG and over the best.
Yeah. Which is a
I think it
shame,
involves
yeah.
a grenade launcher.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
it.
that's the exact scene I'm complaining about, because it felt too out of place for them to have done such a superb job to them fall there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you said about not wanting to, like, not sort of dreading it, like, ever finishing. I kind of because the film didn't quite work for me, I kind of was waiting for it to sort of finish. It goes at quite a steamy, quite fast pace.
Yeah.
It never really lets up.
Yeah.
But because it never really lets up, there's never any time to kind of know anything else. There's no real involvement, no really any kind of reason to care about anybody. And as people are just sort of chopped off, it's kind of like, okay.
I feel like that's kind of one of the ways that makes the film work, though, because the director, he seems to desperately want you to be able to watch this film and believe you're there.
Yeah.
You're this badass guy who's just destroying everything and making everything explode in Michael Bay flat fires.
Yeah.
And I think by having the action not stop, even though that's also one of my critiques of it, because the action doesn't stop, there's a scene in a lab where they try and force narrative out to kind of further the plot onwards, and it works enough to pass, but it, especially with a film where for the entirety to that point it's been non-stop explosions, bang, action.
Yeah, I mean, like, writing isn't the strong point of the film.
Yeah.
He's definitely more of a visual filmmaker than a scripting it out, because the story's quite half cooked.
Yeah.
But I think on a positive side, Sharlto Copley, who was in Chappie, and a lot of Neil Blomkamp stuff, he's really good.
He nails the role.
If it wasn't for him, this kind of, and I said this to you before, this kind of would be a sort of compilation of fighting.
Yeah.
He comes in and adds a bit of humour to it. Tim Roth's in there as well. He's only in there for like 2 scenes.
Yeah, at the beginning and the end.
He adds something.
I've heard there's a strange musical number. Alright.
Yeah, I Got You Under My Skin, which which is supposedly from a film called Gamer with Gerard Butler.
I've seen it, but I don't know much about it.
Apparently the exact same thing happens in Gamer,
Right.
where the actor starts like doing a sort of musical routine. But the character of Jimmy, basically he makes his own clones, so at any point there could be lots of him in the same scene, but like only one ever like works at a time. So when one of them's doing something, the rest will all be kind of head down, out of action, and he just sort of switches between them. So it's a really impressive sort of multi-character performance from Sharlto Copley. But aside from that, the other characters aren't very good.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing in that aspect. I think visually it's interesting. I mean a lot of people have been saying it's quite nauseating to watch.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't nauseated as such. It was a really hot day, so I was quite irritated. I was just kind of, I want to be outside. I don't want to be here. Like,
But could you forgive the story for the action? Crucially.
Kind of no, because the action, while it was well choreographed for the most part, because you've got the camera, so I mean, if you picture like you try to do action and move your head about with the camera on, there's some bits of the shots that you don't quite get. There's some bits that aren't quite as focused as if it was on like a proper rig and not someone's like head. So it's a bit loose, really. I think it would have been something like The Raid that's got really good action. It's really well choreographed with the camera and the performers, whereas this kind of, it looks, I don't know. I like the idea of it being a person, but at the same time, it's not. You know, I mean, obviously,
there's a couple of scenes I can quote that really pull you out from.
Yeah.
Do you ever see Henry, or is there a spoiler to say that? Is there a spoiler to say?
Do you see Henry?
You see him
remember.
at the very, very end, and I won't lie, that was one of my big irks, and I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say it.
I knew that. Yeah, I before I saw the film, I kind of knew they were gonna reveal him at some point. And
They had to at some point, but I feel the way they did it was, it felt far too much like an afterthought.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you've just made me remember one of my points. The use of the camera angles in the film, I think, I actually disagree with you on the can you forgive the story for the action, because the way the entire film wants you to believe that you are this character by having it non-stop going, and especially a lot of the characters just were tropes played on.
Yeah. Well, I think that for this kind of film, it kind of had to have tropes in it, otherwise people really wouldn't get on board with it. It has to court a certain kind of audience. It's an 18. It's a very, very solid 18. There's a lot of go in it. But the impression I got from watching the film, and I said this before as well, there's a few rather needless homophobic references, and it kind of we were saying, you know, it's set in Russia, so maybe that's just a trope that they're leaning on. It's a kind of homophobic sense of, which is obviously not right. But it just felt like it sort of happened, and there was no real reason for it. It's something about the guy with the flamethrower, his coat, and they're saying like, oh, you got like that coat's really gay. And it doesn't need to be there, and it feels like they've kind of, with this kind of action, with the sort of needless. Well, I don't know if it's needless or not, but you know, the whole like stripper scene, all the sex workers are fully naked. You've got Haley Bennett. She has a scene where she's, you know, like half clothed. It's kind of all stuff like that, and the action and the quite ropey plot and story that kind of means it's been marketed as sort of, and I said before, like a nuts magazine kind of.
Yeah, I still can't actually.
It kind of courts that nuts magazine type of audience.
So it's like a top shelf film.
So yeah, well, it's even called Hardcore Henry. It was at one point called Hardcore.
Horrid Henry.
And you keep thinking it's a Horrid Henry.
He grew up.
To be honest, I was thinking whenever I said is a Horrid Henry.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna probably go rewatch the film just pretending that Hardcore Henry is Horrid Henry grown up, and it'll probably make the film like 300 times better.
Just like the angry Henry.
Henry.
That is Hardcore Henry. Do you recommend it?
If you are very much like me, where you've always wanted an action film that doesn't let up, there's enough dialogue, so you know there's something going on, but it's mostly just, I'm gonna leave a little bit of editing space here, balls to the wall, enjoyable action. This film's for you. If I can't sell it to you on that, and especially if you get motion sickness very easily, it's definitely not for you. But if you like the sound of just constant action and a loose enough plot to keep you entertained, go see it.
One of my favourite reviews, and Robbie Collin, one of my favourite critics, gave it 1 star, and he really berated it. I think it was him who said it's like being at a friend's house and watching them play a video game.
This is my problem. This is why I don't think it'll work. It doesn't work. I don't think they've tried it before. I don't think it does.
I didn't feel immersed. We spoke,
interactivity, it's different. It's like a video game.
We spoke last week about Victoria and how immersive that is, and how immersed you feel because you're
there
walking around with them, but you're not actually a person. You don't feel like a person watching Hardcore Henry.
I would just kind of.
You certainly spend the entire film going, oh look, they've done this bit with the camera.
Yeah.
You never really feel like it's an actual pair of eyes. But anyway, I think it's interesting. I think I'm gonna say, if you're an action film fan, then definitely give it a try. But if not, then there's probably nothing here for you, really.
To be honest, if you enjoyed the 2005 film Doom, then go along. They didn't make a mistake this time.
I think maybe they've done it before, but like I think it works in increments, but not a full film.
We were saying it'll be interesting to see if the director will make another action film that's not point of view.
Do you know what I could see?
He's proved that he can do it. Just
I honestly think he could be tasked with a really difficult one, since I think for a first-person movie, I think he's got that as well as can be done at the moment. I'd love to see him do a TV show.
Yeah.
I think that kind of first-person perspective could work in a TV show with his style of it.
The Peep Show. I mean, that kind
True.
Yeah. It works in little bits, but like a full. I don't know.
It made me really want to go and watch The Raid, because The Raid it's fantastic and like pretty much flawless. It's a really, really good film. Anyway, that's Hardcore Henry. Thank you very much, Eddie, for joining us. You're welcome back anytime. Any films coming up that you're interested in that you might fancy joining us for?
Definitely Doctor
Strange.
Doctor Strange. That has my interest. And
is that November? It's
November.
But by the end of the year, it's going to be quite a good end of the year.
I think Captain America is out earlier than that.
It's in a few weeks, yes.